This is the Eastern Business Report, where we look at the business ecosystem in the Eastern region and discuss topics affecting the region's economy. But first, let's take a look at some of the major business and development stories making headlines across the Southeast, beginning here in Enugu State, where the Enugu State government has said it generated 406.8 billion naira as internally generated revenue in 2025, achieving 80% of its 509.9 billion naira revenue target for the year. The disclosure was made by the chairman of the Enugu State Internal Revenue Service, Mr. Emmanuel Nnamani, during a media briefing in Enugu on Sunday. The performance marks a sharp turnaround in the state revenue profile and reflects the impact of reforms introduced under Governor Peter Mbah's administration, particularly in expanding non-tax revenue sources. Nnamani said the state revenue performance defied earlier skepticism that greeted the 2025 target when it was announced the previous year. He noted that the figure presented a 125% increase compared to the 180.5 billion naira generated in 2024. He further stated that the growth recorded shows that Enugu State has expanded its revenue base significantly within a short period, adding that the result, the state government's aggressive revenue drive and its emphasis on sustainability. Moving to Anambra State, where the Onitsha Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture has called on the Anambra State government to adopt a phased approach to its proposed demolition of shops and stores in Onitsha main market. In a statement signed by its president, Chinedu Nwonu, Onisima urged the government to extend the demolition deadline by 12 months, proposing a new commencement date of February 4, 2027, as the chamber also stressed the importance of publishing a clear relocation, demolition, and compensation framework for affected traders. The chamber expressed concern over the lack of publicly communicated plans for alternative arrangements for traders, noting that sudden displacement could severely disrupt commerce, supply chains, and livelihood across the Southeast. Onisima highlighted potential economic losses, social implications, and environmental challenges, including increased street trading, vehicular gridlocks, and health hazards, as the chamber also warned that many shop owners rely on bank loans, cooperative credit, and suppliers' trade facilities, and abrupt demolition could trigger financial distress. However, to mitigate these challenges, Onisima recommended a consultative phase and trader-inclusive redevelopment plan, incorporating purpose-built market complexes, affordable acquisition schemes, and stakeholder engagement with market unions and financial institutions. Moving to Abia State, where the Abia State government has dismissed claims that it inflated the 2026 budget, describing report of irregularities as misleading. The clarification followed rumors that the state's government increased certain allocations after the budget was signed into law, where one of the claims centered on an alert provision of 50 million naira for the purchase of a photocopier for the state liaison office in Lagos. However, the Abia State Ministry of Budget and Planning, in a statement issued on Sunday, said the figure was a technical error that occurred during the final compilation of the 2026 budget. The ministry explained that the actual amount earmarked for the photocopier and all the office equipment for the Lagos liaison office was 12 million naira. The ministry further maintained that the government remains committed to transparency and accountability in the implementation of the 2026 fiscal plan. Still from Abia State, where the Abia State government has approved the payment of adjusted minimum wage to staff of the State Education Management Board and teachers. The special advisor to Governor Alex Oti on basic and secondary education, Mr. Kenechukwu Wosu, disclosed these in a statement on Sunday in Umuahia, the state capital, where he noted that the payment is part of ongoing effort by the Oti administration to enhance the welfare of education workers across the state. Wosu commended Oti for prioritizing the education sector and for his consistent commitment to the well-being of teachers and other education personnel in Abia State. Recall that the Abia state government had in 2023 approved the implementation of the revised minimum wage in line with the federal directive. However, delays in processing salaries and allowances had previously affected some SEMB staff and teachers, particularly those whose extended service contract had elapsed. The recent payment aims to clear outstanding entitlement and ensure compliance with adjusted wage structure. Now from Akwa Ibom State, where Akwa Ibom State has recorded a major milestone in women-focused economic empowerment with the commissioning of 5 additional agro-processing mills in Ekpeti local government area, expanding the Nigeria for Women project to a total of 65 functional facilities across 6 local government areas of the state. The newly inaugurated facilities, 4 palm oil processing mills and 1 cassava processing centers, are part of a state-funded initiative implemented with support from the World Bank. The project is designed to boost rural productivity, formalize women-led enterprises, reduce post-harvest losses, and increase household incomes through access to modern processing infrastructure. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony over the weekend, Governor Emo, represented by the Deputy Governor, Dr. Akon Ayakenye, reaffirmed the administration's commitment to women empowerment as a strategic pillar for sustainable and inclusive development. She disclosed that the Nigeria for Women project has so far delivered over 60 projects across 6 pilot local government areas spanning the 3 senatorial districts of Akwa Ibom State, directly benefiting more than 73,000 women. Dr. Ayakanye assured that the program would be expanded to additional local government areas in line with the state government inclusive development agenda, urging beneficiaries to ensure proper management and ownership of the facilities, stressing that accountability and sustainability would attract further government and development partner interventions. Still from Akwa Ibom State, where the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Emo, has disclosed plans to develop the Ibom Hotels and Apartment project in Abuja as part of efforts to generate revenue for the state and create employment opportunities alongside the proposed development of an Ibom housing estate in the Federal Capital Territory to provide affordable accommodation for Akwa Ibom indigenes. The governor made this known during a visit to the Akwa Ibom community in Abuja, where he attended the community's general meeting on Sunday and engaged members on the development priorities of his administration under the ESIRS agenda. He assured indigenes resident in Abuja of more developmental projects, reaffirming his administration's commitment to inclusive growth, strategic asset repositioning, and improved welfare for citizens both at home and in the diaspora. Addressing the gathering, Governor Eno said the Ibom Hotels and Apartment project would replace the moribund old liaison office, transforming the asset into a viable hospitality and commercial hub capable of generating revenue for the state and creating jobs for residents. He also announced plans for the development of an Ibom housing estate in Abuja, aimed at providing decent and affordable housing for Akwa Ibom people living in the nation's capital. Now from Edo State, where the Edo State Internal Revenue Service has granted employers of labor a 2-week extension for the filing of annual pay-as-you-earn payee tax returns. The shift in deadline from the statutory deadline of January 31st, 2026 is to allow employees additional time to complete their submissions. In a statement, the head of corporate communications at ESIRS, Courage, said the extension was approved to help employees adjust to recent tax reforms. He explained that the grace period would enable organizations to properly align their filings with the provisions of the Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025, as the Revenue Service directed all employers to file payee returns for their employees through its official digital portal. It's noted that submissions will only be regarded as valid if they are duly signed and stamped by the employer or an accredited tax agent and fully compliant with Section 33 of the NTAA 2025. The EIRS stressed the penalties for non-compliance remain in force and warned that defaulting employers would face sanctions in accordance with Section 127 and 101 of the NTAA. Finally, but still from Edo State, where the Edo State government has attributed the simultaneous execution of several large-scale infrastructure projects across the state to prudent financial management and deliberate planning under the administration of Governor Monday Okpebholo. The Commissioner for Finance, Emmanuel Nnamani, stated this on Sunday while responding to questions from journalists on how the state has been able to fund multiple projects across critical sectors. According to Okebo, the scale of ongoing project is not additional but the outcome of careful coordination, physical discipline, and clearly defined priorities. Okebo explained that the governor's approach to governance is shaped by the state of infrastructure inherited by the administration, noting that years of neglect left many communities with dilapidated road, overstretched health facilities, and limited access to basic services.